come through at Glendale. Oh. And it's by Victoria Walters. So I just keep listening to that, and I find it like so tingly. Okay. I love the dedication at the beginning to all the dreamers. It just seems so fitting, especially for those of you that watch ASMR to sleep. Sleep, sleep, sleep. I hope that you find this relaxing as well. Okay, so the prologue begins. 23 years ago, I held on tightly to my mother's hand as we walked through the crunchy fallen leaves. My cozy beanie hat slipped down my forehead, so she stopped us to push it back. "Now you can see again," she said, smiling down at me. She looked around where we were. "Look at that, Lorna," she said, pointing to the house behind us. Set back from the road, it was half covered by the orange and red leaves of the trees in front of it. It was painted white and was taller than the other houses on the road. I thought it was the biggest house I had ever seen. It looked like something out of a fairy tale. Perhaps Belle from Beauty and the Beast lived there. She was my favorite. "It's the prettiest house in all of Glendale. I thought once that I might live there. I thought we could make it a lovely place for people to stay." Then she sighed. "Life doesn't always work out the way you plan, but it's good to dream, Lorna. You need to imagine the life you want and then work towards it. I want all of your dreams to come true." She turned from the house and smiled at me. "Come on, we're gonna be late." We set off again and she swung our entwined hands as we walked, making me laugh. Before we turned the corner, I glanced back, and it felt like the White House was watching us walk away. Then there's a part one. Part one, chapter one. Okay. And thankfully the chapters aren't too long. So if it's an awful little chapter, then you won't have too much to listen to, but hopefully, like I said, it'll help you to relax and sleep. And if there's a good story to it, then that's a bonus. "Lorna, there you are." My heart sank as my boss, Chris, found me in the lobby of Glenmarsh's Inn. I glanced at the clock on the wall behind the reception desk. I only had 15 minutes left of my shift, and I'd finished all that needed to be done and was already looking forward to heading home. "There's a big mess in the lounge. Can you sort that before you go, please?" Chris barked at me before spinning around and marching off. As the manager, he was always rushing around the inn, telling us all what to do. I turned to see the receptionist Claire on the phone, but giving me a sympathetic eye roll. I grimaced and returned before I headed towards the lounge. As housekeeping manager, I had come to dread the words "big mess," and the sight that greeted me reminded me why. Someone had knocked a whole jug of orange juice off a table, and it had spilled across the marble floor and covered one of the cream chairs as well. I knew all of the housekeeping staff were sorting out the rooms ready for the guest switchover, and with so little of my shift left, I knew it would be faster just to clean it up myself. Silently cursing whoever had invented sticky orange juice, I tucked in a strand of stray hair that had come out of my bun and set to work with a mop and bucket and industrial strength fabric cleaner. My shift ended when I was only halfway done. still here." One of the housekeeping team, Ellie, spotted me as she passed by with her trolley. "Oh," she said, seeing what I was doing. "Let me finish that, and then you can head home." I leaned against the mop and gave her a grateful smile. "You're a lifesaver. I'm meeting friends for drinks, and I need a large one after today." "It's after every day for me," she replied, taking them up from me and waving me off. I didn't need telling twice, and I hurried into the staff room and over to my locker, where I grabbed my bag and pulled my teddy bear coat on over my in-uniform of black trousers and white blouse. Then I rushed out of the lobby before anyone else could find something for me to do. It was a chilly September evening, and once outside I could see my breath on the air as I walked towards my car. Behind me, the inn was lit up for the evening. The mock Tudor building sat in a valley surrounded by rolling green hills, and I had always enjoyed working there until a couple of years ago, when it was taken over by a big chain and refurbished inside, taking away all its character, in my opinion. Now we were less about making guests feel like they were in a home from home, and more about hosting conferences and hitting sales targets. I no longer loved my job, but I had no idea what to do about it. Climbing into my car, I turned my phone on and it lit up with several notifications. I checked in case it was my friend rearranging our plans for tonight, but I realized they were all from Facebook, and when I saw the name, Mark Edwards, I couldn't help but take a peek before I drove home. I instantly regretted it when I saw the status update from my ex-boyfriend that had created a frenzy of replies, likes, and shares. I knew this even before I read it. Mark Edwards is engaged to Pearl Simmons. Okay, now I need 2 large drinks, I said aloud to myself before switching on the engine, turning up the radio, and driving away from the inn, needing the sanctuary of my Highlands village, Glendale, because this really had been a disastrous day. It was about 20 minutes drive from Glenmarshes to Glendale, and I always felt better once the sights of the village I had lived in all of my life came into view, but tonight it wasn't providing quite the same comfort it usually did. I had been feeling stuck at work for a long time, and seeing Mark's news was a reminder that my personal life was just as uninspiring. We had split up when the chain took over, as he had been offered to transfer to one of their city hotels, and he jumped at the opportunity, despite the fact that it meant leaving me behind. I drove into the Glendale Arms car park and was relieved to see that my best friend Anna's car was already there. I needed a friendly face right now. I had grown up going to the pub for family meals and then for fun teenage nights out, and now I often met my friends there for a glass of wine after work on a Friday night. I hurried out of my car and walked inside, where the sight of a crackling log fire was immediately welcoming. Summer had not long left, but the nights were going colder in the Highlands already. Anna waved from the bar where she was buying us a drink, so I found a table in the corner, close to the fire, and sank into the chair. "You look like you need this," Anna said, sitting down next to me and sliding one of the glasses of wine she had carried over across to me. Anna had candy floss colored hair. Is that pink? Is that pink in this country? Because it is where I'm from. And wore a leather jacket over her dress as usual. I thought we could both walk home. It's Friday after all. I smiled. Good idea. And you're right, after the day I've had, I definitely need this. I took a long gulp from my glass. "Want to tell me about it?" she asked as she sipped hers. It was a long day at the inn. Chris, my boss, is all head up about a company holding their annual general meeting with us on Monday, so he was even more of a tyrant than usual. Then he made me stay late to clear up what can only be described as a gallon of orange juice all over the lounge. But the worst part, I showed her the Facebook update on my phone. Why isn't everyone around me is falling in love or getting engaged or married or having babies, and I can't even get a decent date? Anna screwed up her face in sympathy. Oh, I'm sorry. Sounds like a rubbish day at work, but you really don't need to be upset about this, she said, gesturing to my phone. You told me that you weren't really in love with Mark. I know it stings when someone walks away, but it wasn't meant to be, then that was a good thing. This has nothing to do with you. You're lovely, and you will meet someone special soon. I knew she was right about Mark. We had dated for about 18 months, but I had had my doubts about us. When he announced he was leaving, it had still hurt that he hadn't even considered asking me to come with him, though. Since then, I joined dating apps, but nothing ever went anywhere. I was tired of it. Let's talk about something else, I pleaded. How was college today? Anna told me all about her last cooking class. She was training to be a chef and had almost finished her year-long course at a college in Inverness, and was starting to think about what she would do once she had her diploma. I love how passionate you are about it, I said when she had finished. Her face lit up with excitement. I wish I enjoyed my job half as much as you enjoy cooking. Anna had a dream of opening her own restaurant, and I had no doubt that she would do it. Anna tilted her head to one side. But I thought you'd always wanted to work in hotels. Not exactly. I used to dream of opening my own hotel. Well, a bed and breakfast, but I knew I needed experience, so I started working at Glenmarsh's Inn after college, and at first, I loved it. But lately it's become just a chore. The inn isn't what it used to be. It's not the cozy retreat it once was. It's more like a corporate chain hotel now, something I never wanted to work in. I sighed. Listening to you talk about having your own restaurant makes me remember what I had originally planned, I suppose. Well, there's no reason why you can't still make that dream happen. You're only 28. Look at me. I'm back at college, and I never expected that. You have to follow your heart. I raised an eyebrow, and she chuckled. I know. I never thought I'd be giving anyone that advice, but Glendale changed me. She gestured around the pub with a wry smile. I smiled. Well, I'm glad we did and that you decided to stay, I replied. Anna had originally come to help out a housekeeper at Glendale Hall, the largest inn in our village, just for the summer. But a year later, she was still here, and we'd become good friends. I know you're right, but I trailed off. Anna was a go-getter, but I had always been more content doing what was comfortable and familiar, not taking a risk. Oh, here are the boys, Anna said happily then, as the door to the pub opened. In walked her boyfriend, Cameron, and my brother, Adam. People always said me and my older brother looked alike with our dark brown eyes and the dimple in one cheek. Adam was taller and stockier than me, though, and his light brown hair was short, whereas mine hung over my shoulders when I let it down. I usually wore it in a messy bun on top of my head, though. Cameron went over to the bar, but Adam started walking to our table. Don't tell them about Mark, I hissed at Anna. I just want to forget about it. She nodded, and I was relieved. If I was honest, it was embarrassing, always being the one unlucky in love, especially as Anna and Cameron were so loved up. She had been with Cameron ever since she decided to stay in Glendale, and everyone could see how happy they were. Adam reached our table. I have some big news for you, he said to me in lieu of a hello. And that's the end of chapter 1. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I feel like there were a lot of run-on sentences, and I'm kind of wondering if there was a publishing company or if it was like self-published, because I don't know that it was like edited properly. So I might read a chapter or two more, and if I don't get into it, that'll kind of be it. What did you guys think? What are your thoughts? Are you already asleep?